Hello everyone and welcome back to, well, for the last time, daily Propulsion Swimming Podcast during the Paris 2024 Olympics. Dan, it feels like we've already been here today. Have we not?
Well, we have, actually, funny enough. A bit of deja vu going on a bit.
Absolutely. Like we said to you guys, we would come out with a final episode straight after the Day 9 finals, of which we've got 4 events to take you through, 4 incredible swims to give our opinions on, our thoughts on, and that will round up our pool coverage of the Paris 2024 Olympics. After this podcast, we'll put up stuff kind of reviewing the Brits because we have a strong British audience. I know we've actually got a lot of international viewers who've joined us over the course of these Paris Olympics, which is great to see, but we'll put up a Brit-centric review podcast. We'll talk some open water in the meantime before that, and then I'm sure we'll welcome back some guests onto this podcast because it's been a little while. We didn't want to get in contact with them like in the lead up to the Olympic Games. That's not fair. Like, they don't need to talk to us.
Yeah, it's difficult to talk to them because they're obviously extremely preoccupied and they're very mind focused on what they've got to do. They've got a job to do. It's their life and their passion, obviously. So we don't want to interrupt any sort of training regime or, change their mindset somehow in any kind of way. So we kind of leave them to it, but it'd be great to get a couple of guests on afterwards because it's been, what now? 2 months, maybe even longer, actually. So it's been a while.
I tell you what, everyone on YouTube now, go comment below who you'd like us to try and get onto this podcast. Give us a British name and give us an international name because we can shoot for the stars here and there. We've got some good contacts, so who knows? Who knows?
You know the first name they're going to bring up, aren't you? So it's going to be difficult to get him
realistic.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through Day 9 then. There's plenty to talk about here, and like we said, emotions from us might be quite... I'm buzzing, to be honest with you. So, it's going to be strong. We start off with the women's 50 meters freestyle. Of course, Sarah Sjostrom comes away with the gold medal. That one was a foregone conclusion before the start of the Olympic Games. I know it's swimming and nothing's ever a foregone conclusion, but she wins in a 23.71. I think she'll be disappointed not to get the world record. I am.
Yeah, I am as well. True. Yeah.
I thought she was going to get there, but maybe it's finals. She didn't look like she was pulling away from the field as much as she had in the past. If anything, the start looked better than usual.
I was going to say that the first 25 meters were actually very good. She was at the front of the field after 25 meters, which actually takes her a little bit longer to get there because obviously the swim speed takes a bit longer. But she was there at the front, 25 meters. Then you suddenly think, oh my God, this world record's going to be huge. Because I went to the final thinking she might go a 23.5, didn't I?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not the case. I don't think she was holding as much water as she could or has done in previous races. But again, it could be down to the Olympic final pressure and all that sort of stuff. Ultimately, she gets the gold, and that's really what she was after.
She does the double, which is, weirdly enough, we heard the statistic on commentary and we couldn't quite believe it. This is the first time she's won 2 medals at an Olympic Games. Or 2 gold medals at an Olympic Games.
Yeah, this is her 5th Olympics, and she's only won 3 Olympic golds, of which 2 of them she's just won this week.
That's a bit weird.
Baffling stat, if you ask me. That. Yeah, honestly, just baffling. I mean, the greatness that she is, the sprinting queen that she is, and the world records she's hit, and she's only actually won 3 Olympic golds. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens in 50 metres, obviously, doesn't it? It's very hit and miss. But yes, that was a very good swim from her.
Behind her, Meg Harris is the only other swimmer who goes 24 seconds. I think she's had a brilliant meet for Australia. Very quietly been going about the relays, hitting some incredible splits. And then she comes through here to get herself an individual silver. And it was closer to Sjostrom than, I think, comfortable. Than I thought it would be. And then behind Meg Harris was
dogfight.
0.2 from 3rd to 8th, just like the men's.
Very similar to the men's.
Very close.
Yeah, I mean, I put my hands up. I wasn't really watching Meg Harris. I was just watching Sarah Sjostrom because I thought the first 25 were so good. The world record was going to be smashed here. Meg Harris, I can't remember which lane she was in. Lane 7?
She was right down the bottom. Yeah,
one of the outside lanes, so a proper outside burner. And yeah, to go sub 24, PB for her, that's now how many Australians that can now go sub 24? At least 3 that I can think of right now.
3, yeah.
And only 20 years old, so she's in the game for a long time. That medley relay, the freestyle relay, is going to be... They're not going to be challenged, are they, for a while? Because
for 4x1?
Yeah, they're too good at it. And then Zhang Yifei, I mean, known for a butterfly.
She's had a meet and a half as well. Medals all over the place.
Yeah. I know not quite the golds that she's probably after, but she's dealing with some extremely, extremely good swimmers. But to come away with podiums in, I think, most races that she's done, if not all, plus some relays as well. That's a solid meet for her. Very good.
Yeah, our predictions didn't quite come in. Gretchen Walsh in fourth, just 1/100th off the podium, and then Cassia Wasik in fifth, just 1/10th off the podium. So our prediction at the start of this day was fairly close, but you can't
win some,
win
you lose some.
Men's 1500 meters freestyle final really did not go to script. Dan Whiffen in the water looked heavy. He looked tired, I'll be honest. He didn't look like he had an answer for Bobby Fink, and actually Bobby Fink raced it like no one expected. If you're going into this meet and telling me Bobby Fink is going to be taking this out from 100 meters and going for it, I would have said no. But the most important thing, Dan, not that Bobby Fink's won gold. The world record is gone.
Yeah,
it's gone. Record. Thank you so much, Bobby Fink. That's all I care about. Now let's talk about the gold.
Well, you know what? After Whiffen, unfortunately, he got broken quite early, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like after 600 meters, you think, oh, it's a long way back, and Fink was actually pushing on even further at that point as well. So you think, okay, well, they're guaranteed. He's guaranteed bronze because the top three were actually quite far ahead at this point. And so ultimately, it's because Fink starts to push on. You think, oh, the world record is very much on the cards here. I know that the last 100-meter split is outrageous, but actually Fink has a good last 50.
The man, yeah.
So, brave tactics, richly deserves it. I love that kind of tactic. And actually, did you watch his interview after the race?
Yes, yeah.
Saying that he was ahead after 100, he thought,
he could
I'm just going to wing it then.
So really weird in lane 7, the way he breathes. There is a big scoreboard on that side of the pool, which is for the spectators. And he said he could see that, and he could see the world record line. He was like, oh.
Yeah. God, I think that would put me off a little bit. Like, oh my God, the world record line's on my hips here.
Swimming needs more of that, especially at the distance, because you think in the athletics, they're always, even in the 100-meter sprint, they're always looking at the board like, okay, how far clear am I?
Yeah,
okay,
they are true. That is true. Yeah.
I thought that was amazing that he was able to see that. I loved it. First male American gold at these Olympic Games. They left it so late in an individual.
Yeah. Literally the last race.
I don't know. And what a way to get it as well.
Yeah, we'll get to it eventually at the end. But actually, that gold was actually quite significant when you're talking about the USA versus Australia medal count at the end. That was a big result for them, I guess. But I suppose another talking point, actually, he negative split that 1500. So yeah, he took it out, but then actually came back quicker. Whew, great swim. So happy the world record's gone. We were watching it together again, and I was cheering him on so loudly on that last 100 meters, just because I thought it was very much a possibility. And yeah, he did it. 14:36.7. I suppose the next target is a sub 14:30. Which,
oh God, slow down, man.
Which you could very much do, I guess. But
potentially.
Yeah, but amazing race, amazing.
Let's talk behind him then, because Paltrinieri actually gave him a very, very good race. I think he needs to take a lot of credit for pushing that world record on, because Bobby Fink, I think the reason he negative split it was because Paltrinieri kicked on in that, not middle, but the middle 600 meters. He really started closing the gap, making moves, and then Bobby Fink just went again.
And he did say that in the interview, didn't he? Saying that he saw Paltrinieri and he didn't really want to catch up, obviously.
Bobby Fink said he didn't have this wasn't the plan going into this race. He just saw after 100 meters he was ahead and just said, okay.
I'll wing it, just go for it. Yeah.
Just wing it in a 1500. Surely not.
That was his word.
Surely not.
Just wing it. Like, what? He's just winged the world record in the 1500.
Oh, God.
And I think Paltrinieri definitely helps. You know, I actually think it's such a shame that he doesn't have his last 50 speed compared to your Whiffens or your Finks, because honestly, I think he could be a world record holder. His pacing is great. The 50 splits he does throughout the race is amazing. And actually, he kind of breaks a lot of swimmers, but he just doesn't quite have, which you saw in the 800, he doesn't quite have that speed at the end to then beat these guys. But that's a solid silver. Again, another podium for him.
We're going to talk open water in a few days' time. He is right up there as one of my contenders for the open water. He doesn't quite need the turn of speed for that. And he has the engine, and look at the form he's in. 2 podiums in the 8 and the 15. I know Whiffin's doing the open water as well, so that's going to be fun.
Very fun.
But no, he looked really, really good. And the whole of this podium in the pool goes sub 14:40. So it's a fast race. It's a very fast race. Fast. And actually elsewhere, Tunçeli, the young Turkish swimmer, hits a world junior record, I believe, in a 14:41.22, which is faster than the time he set at European Juniors. So this was a rapid race.
Yeah, it really was. And actually, I'm looking forward to that open water because, like you say, well, I mean, you see it on clips, like the open water sometimes comes down to the last 50 metres and they're sprinting to the pad at the end. And
Well,
I
then
think
Paltrinieri will look very good.
Well, yeah, well, I think he might even break the swimmers. Based on his current form at the moment, I don't know open water as deeply as I do pool swimming. But if he can get the strong pace out at the very beginning and break the swimmers, I know it's a very different sport and you can kind of swim behind swimmers, which actually helps. But if you can break them, then there's not many people, I think, that can catch him. So watch out for him in the open water.
Men's 4x1 medley relay. America are dethroned.
Yeah.
I didn't have this on our predictions, didn't have this on our bingo cards, but when Pan Zhang Li swims a 45.92 and everyone else in that relay team did their job, 45.92. I'm sorry, what?
45.
He's just battered Jason Lezak's best ever relay split.
Yeah, and that relay split was just obviously the best relay that's ever taken place at Beijing, obviously, and he had a help of catching a wave. Now, I'm trying to remember if Pan actually had help of the wave, and I'm not quite sure.
Well, he was next to Manadu, so maybe a little bit.
Maybe he did, but even still, to see a 45 as a split is outrageous. I nearly swore then.
Well.
It's mental. And then obviously Chin helps out by going in his 57, which is really kind of what he's supposed to do, what we all thought he would do going in.
Yeah, but I don't know what happened in his individuals, but the relays have clicked at the end of this.
Very much so, and it obviously it's helped him get his medals that he needed. But listen, like going back to Pan, he went out in a 21.5.
It's a feat. Oh,
21.5 to feet. Like what? The bronze medal was like 21.4, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
What on earth? I mean, yeah. I mean, a sensational swim.
The American splits as well were solid.
Yeah,
they
were
were really good. Maybe the missing link was Nick Fink, who went a 58.9, which just...
that's not really a weak link, is it?
It's not really, but in the mixed medley yesterday, he swam a 58.2. So that's why they got that world record. And I guess, like everyone else, I mean, Ryan Murphy, a 52.4. Could he have been a bit faster? That's about what he did in the individual.
Yeah, he was quicker yesterday with the mix, wasn't he? But yeah.
Caleb Dressel, 49.4, fastest fly.
Yep.
Solid in the field.
Yeah.
Can't question that. And then Hunter Armstrong, a 47.1. I'd take that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So...
yeah, they did nothing wrong. It's just how you just get beaten by an insane split. And that's what it is, an insane split. Will we see that again? Maybe from himself, from Pan again? But my word, I mean, geez, 45.9 and going out 21.5. Ah, man. We were baffled when we watched it.
Well, it just looked like Manadu and Hunter Armstrong tied
up.
Like they died a death, and actually, no, it's just the way Pan Zhang Li swims. He just 100 freestyle.
Sensational swim, and that will go down as one of the best relay splits of all time, and it might stand for a very long. If Lezak still lasted until basically now, that split's going to last for a longer time. Yeah, you did get close, but that's 45, man. That is insane.
France get the bronze to round out what has been a fantastic games in the pool for them. I'm very happy that they got that medal, even though I wish the Brits had been on that podium. But you look at the team and you're like, Manadu doing the Viking clap beforehand. Swimming needs more. I put a tweet out. Swimming needs more Manadu. I get swimmers acknowledging a crowd. Hype the crowd up, man. Yeah. Like even wherever you go, just...
It works for him. It works for him massively. I know it's a home crowd, and you're not always going to be in front of your home crowd. But he I was going to say milks it. I suppose he did milk it, but he did what he was supposed to really get the crowd involved in this race, and it was an amazing race. Everyone did their job for the French, if I'm honest. Grousset, 49.5, which is basically the same as Dressel.
Yeah,
Marchand, I believe, went 58 again.
58.6.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not...
Manadu went a 47.5, and he is a 50 specialist only, I would say.
Yeah. And then Brouard actually came in, I think, first on the back show, give or take.
No,
he was coming through. He was coming through, he ran out of pool.
He was charging, yeah.
Yeah. That's a richly deserved third for France. It really is. I mean, again, a shame that the Brits didn't quite get there. We'd be quite happy with the Brits getting bronze, obviously. But I think that really did round up a fantastic meet for France.
Shall we talk about the Brits then? Because I'm not sure you could have asked anything more from the 4 that were in the pool. I think all of their swims were outstanding.
Yeah.
We're just missing a 49.100 flyer, which is like what?
Yeah.
So Ollie Morgan swims a 52.8, which is
Solid.
exactly what he did in the individual.
Yep.
That's what you need. Adam Peaty comes back from COVID to swim a 58.1.
That's good as well.
That's banging. He really took that one out quite hard.
He
as
did,
well. I was a bit worried for him. He took it out in a 26.3.
Yeah.
Duncan Scott goes a 51.3, which I don't think you can ask anything more from Duncan given his individual PB. I think in the 100 fly is a 52. I think it's a 52 is individual. Yeah. And then Matt Richards comes back in a 47.3, which again, like that's faster than Manadu. That's right up there with Hunter Armstrong. You can't ask anything more.
Yeah.
It's a shame they've missed a podium just about, but we end the meet as Brits with 5 medals. We'll discuss it more in another podcast, our thoughts and feelings about that, but I would say this meet has been successful and full of promise for the future. I think that's the biggest
I would
thing.
also add in there maybe a bit of unfortunateness as well, because we've had a couple of fourths.
You're trying not to use unlucky as the word.
Yeah,
aren't you?
well, it's not unlucky because you just go the other side of the touch, and it's just unfortunate just the way the hand lies on the wall. So unfortunate, but I agree. Promise, and I think 5 was really the target. 5 or 6 medals. We've come away with 5. Unlucky actually not to come away with like 3 golds, if I'm honest, which then would have put us really quite high up in the medal table.
There could have been a few more bronzes as well.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so. I think we've done well, but we will break it down even more on a future episode.
And then we finished the whole Olympic Games with a women's 4x1 medley relay, and this didn't disappoint. We get the 4th world record of these games, the final race of these games. It was close, very, very close to the near perfect relay. Reagan
really
Smith leads it out in a 57.28, which is an Olympic record and would have won her gold in the individual, but we won't talk about that too much. Lily King goes a 64.9, which she's sub 65, which is extremely good. Gretchen Walsh goes a 55 flat, which is I don't need to tell you how good that is. And then Tori Hurst maybe just a little bit off what she was yesterday, but she had competition yesterday with Zhang Yufei. She was racing by herself and goes a 52.4, which is still very, very good, and the world record gets battered.
Yeah,
it was absolutely battered.
It was always going to get crushed. If Gretchen Walsh did a 55 flat, then that world record was always going to go. I mean, when Lily King touched the wall, they were on world record pace, and you think, well, this world record is now going to get absolutely destroyed. And what was it by the end? 0.7 was it they were underneath? Something around that sort of region.
They were under it by 0.8.
0.8, yeah, massive
margin.
Will that go even lower? I think Lily King has said that she's retiring, so they're going to have to find a new breaststroke.
But Lydia Jacobi, hopefully she comes back.
Yeah, exactly. Reagan Smith is 22. Gretchen is 21 or 22. Husk is the same age as well. This team could potentially be one of the best relay teams we will see in a long time.
Yeah.
And they were always going to win this race. And yeah, like you say, everyone just did
seconds.
Everyone did it perfectly.
Yeah.
Like you say, Husk was half a second quicker yesterday, so it could have been another half second off the world record potentially, but different circumstances. So yeah, I mean, congratulations to them. That was a huge, huge world record.
Fight behind them was massive, and I will be honest, I didn't watch it because I was watching America and be like, world record, is it going? Australia get the silver, China get the bronze, just ahead of Canada in 4th.
Yeah.
Summer McIntosh did come into this relay, which caught us by surprise. And in our preview, we accidentally forgot Maggie McNeil on the fly leg. How on earth we did that, I don't know. End of a long meet. Maybe that backfired slightly because Summer swam a 53.2, and the Chinese and Australians were, Australians' Molly O'Callaghan was a 51.8.
Yeah.
And Chinese finished with Yang, who was a 52.1, which was the difference because Canada actually went into the pool on the summer leg in 2nd.
They did, yeah. I really thought that Alexiak would have been given the nod for that freestyle leg, and maybe looking back, if they did that, then maybe it would have been a different story. But that's just, it's all hindsight. Australia got that silver, I think, because Molly O'Callaghan races, and she comes back like an absolute freight train and then gets a touch. 51.8 is obviously extremely good. I'm a bit like you. I didn't really watch the race behind. I only watched the last maybe 5 meters when obviously we knew the world record was hit.
Yeah.
And then it came down. I thought the Chinese Yang was doing really quite well, but just outtouched by Molly O'Callaghan in the end. What else to say? Just an amazing race. Two amazing relays to finish off the games, and it is the Americans who just edge Australia just on the medal count for gold anyway.
This was big talk going into these games that it was going to be between America and Australia for the top of the medal table. Could the Aussies get them like they did in Japan World Championships last year?
Yeah.
America come away with 8, Australia with 7. Big surprise for me, though, is not one in a double digit. Nowhere close to a double digit gold medal haul. So the rest of the world of swimming has got better. Yes, Mochon takes 4 for France, which is a big thing. They get so many there. But on the men's side, you think America, like we said, for Bobby Fink, only got 1 individual gold. They were the medals were spread quite far and wide.
And that's better for the sport, don't you think?
It's amazing for the sport, I think. Yeah. And it's a good sign moving forward that it isn't just a dominant country anymore.
Yeah, and actually Bobby Fink said that. He said that, yes, we've just about won the gold medal tally here, but actually the rest of the world is catching up, and you don't want a monopoly of America or Australia or any country just winning every gold, because then it gets a little bit boring, I think, from your casual viewers watching swimming for maybe the first time. You just think, oh, if Australia or America going into the final, then they're going to win. It gets a bit sort of tedious. Whereas now, some of the races, like obviously going back to the men's 100 fly or the women's 200 dry, no idea who's going to win. And that is the beauty of this sport, and that's why I think it's better than it's ever been, actually.
Okay, that just about rounds up our daily reviews of the swimming in the pool at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us over the past 9 days, who's tuned into our preview episodes as we head into these Olympic Games. The exciting thing for me and Dan is this is only just the beginning. Like, we aren't slowing down because the Olympic Games have finished. We aren't stopping. We aren't taking a break. We're excited that this is now, at this point in time. It's like a part-time adventure. It's not just a hobby in our spare time. So if you haven't subscribed already on like YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, as we always say, now's a really good time to do so, because the content isn't going to slow down because the swimming stops. There's going to be interviews to talk about. There's other things to talk about and digest after this meet. Drop us a review on the audio platforms as well. If you have enjoyed this meet, that would really help us out. And Dan, unless you've got anything further to say.
I think I summed up pretty well that I think swimming is in the best place it's ever been, if I'm perfectly honest. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it.
Nice. And we will see you guys just in a few days' time, because we will come out with something for the open water, and we'll talk about the 3 Brits going in that. And we'll try and give some predictions and podiums, but we're going to have to swat up on our open water knowledge.
Yeah, we'll have to do a bit of reading and some clip finding and watching, aren't we? But yeah, I think it's very exciting. It continues. We're going to put out loads of content, like Scott was saying, over the next few weeks, months. And stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening, everyone, and we'll see you in a few days' time.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.